And welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. On today's episode, I just want to talk about a couple things that I'm actually doing currently in this Pokemon market. What are the things I'm like doing on a real short-term basis? This is not going to be like a big broad scope type thing. This is going to be a very condensed, like what am I just doing in the last couple weeks, last couple months? Because I think it's an important conversation. It's one that I feel like enough people, there's a couple people out there, I should say, definitely have these conversations, but not enough on a daily basis. So, a couple things I've been doing real recently is I got super lucky. My most recent pull was the Giratina V Full Art. That was a no brainer. I sent that card, the PSA, instantly. I didn't even think twice about it. I just sent it off. It didn't matter if it was going to be a 9 or a 10. But then I also had 3 special delivery Charizards I received, and I picked the one with the best centering. I didn't pick the one with the best corners, best edges. I picked the one with the best centering. When I opened the pack, looked at the back, there was a little bit of whitening in the corner. I was super worried that I was going to get a 9, but I really liked the centering. So I sent it, and I just got the grades back yesterday. It's now in the mail today, and it hit the 10. So these are super, super tight window, short-term play type things. Great in, special delivery Charizards right now. Trying to get 10s, trying to, get to the market real fast is risky, but I was able to do it. I had a 1 out of 3 shot out of the 3 cards, and I was able to pick right and get the 10. The Giratina V, the full art I pulled, obviously being pack fresh, probably going to be a 9, high likelihood of being a 10, probably greater likelihood of it being a 10 than a 9. I just was super unfortunate. I happened to hit the 9 on the Giratina V Full Art. Still, even at PSA, at the regular tier, it's still worth it. Still make a bunch of money opposed to the raw value of that card. That's going to be one of those cards that market really hasn't decided yet. Where are those cards going to fall? But all these super tight, truncated, short windows. Special delivery Charizard's great in a 10, super short window. Again, that's a free card. So that's a card you spent $20 at Pokemon Center. Let's call it 25 to get, free shipping. And then you get that card back. And I was able to get a 10. So I'm super happy about that. And you almost feel bad because the play was so obvious and so easy. And still looking at what those cards are selling for right now today, like right before this video went live, I was looking, and they're still over $500 in a 10, $500 in a PSA 10. You know how ridiculous of a price it is for a free card? Those things only have one trajectory, and that price is down. How the market is somehow being strong enough to continue to eat up these cards, your guess is as good as mine. Giratina V Full Art, that's another card, no brainer, alt art. But I don't know if that card's going to wind up being on top of the set, because I think people are looking at its Japanese counterpart, seeing what the Giratina V alt art and the Japanese set selling for. I think that's what people are looking at. But now you got all this hype and the pull rates behind the Aerodactyl V, and Pokerev had a lot to do with that, obviously. But it's just modern cards, man. People love their modern cards. And then another play I'm doing, and I'm kind of really patiently waiting for, is I'm still waiting to get back my PSA $18 submission. I know there's a lot of people now in the community, a lot of people in the hobby who have been super lucky, have gotten back their $18 submissions. A lot of people have gotten back multiple $18 submissions. Sadly, I kept dragging my feet. My $18 submission got accepted at like the end of July at PSA. I think Nick Old School Pokemon recently talked about one of his submissions. It was entered on July 20th. And I think that one just hit grading, or he just got it back, or like he just got his grades back. So he'll probably get it in the mail in the next week. So there's a lot of those 18 graded tiers coming back. Obviously, like special delivery Charizard predated that, or post-dated that. The Giratina V post-dated that. So not going to be any of those cards in the bulk submissions. But we're going to start to see the market either do one of two things. The market's going to, take a hard dip, because all these lower end bulkish type cards, it's the question is, can the market absorb all these right now? Some people say yes, some people say no. And really, the answer isn't a yes or no. It's all super dependent on what card did you send. Did you send a card that has decent buyer pools? I just saw Nick Old School Pokemon's most recent return. It was majority, if not the bulk of that entire submission, was all reverse hollows from Legendary Collection. There is still a super strong market for those cards. I think the liquidity behind those right now is probably going to be super easy. And he was actually talking during the video. Before he even recorded, he had already pre-sold some of those cards. So the market is still very strong. So those are just like some of the plays I'm doing on a very short-term timeline. But I'll tell you one of the plays I'm getting ready for. And this is probably a play that a lot of people are thinking about doing. I don't know if anybody's really been talking about it vocally. But when I get my Charizard UPC pre-orders, so now I did submit 4 pre-orders through GameStop. I know there's a lot of people out there who have been saying GameStop have been canceling pre-orders, all this stuff. I haven't been able to actually get a true verification of any pre-orders being canceled besides like some people talking online. Like the stores don't know anything. And I would definitely believe that some of the people that might have, went crazy on their pre-orders and got like 20 or 30, I could definitely see those being cut. But for the most part, I haven't really heard of anybody hearing about cancellations. And more importantly, directly before this video started, I went and checked my credit card statement just to see if GameStop had refunded me my purchase for those UPCs, and they haven't. It's still just, it's not even pending on my credit card. It's an authorized transaction. It's gone through, it's been paid. So I don't know where all these people are hearing from. And there's just too much different information because so this is where I come from on this thought. If it was true that GameStop definitively canceled all the pre-orders, then I should have been refunded by this point. And not only should I have been refunded with my purchase, I also should have been notified, whether that is through email, because I'm a pro member. So either I should have been notified via email or they have my phone number on file. And trust me, GameStop, while it's a big corporate feel, it is a very small feel to it because the people that work there call you all the time. Like anytime there's something wrong with one of your submissions, one of your orders, I shouldn't say submissions, I got PSA on the brain, but anytime there's an issue with one of your orders, I found to my like benefit 100% of the time I've gotten phone calls from GameStop. Like 100% of the time GameStop has called and said like something was wrong. The only exception to that rule is being anytime I've ordered something on GameStop.com, I haven't really, gotten phone calls. I've gotten emails then. So I'm very interested in like what's going to happen with that. But with that said, what my game plan is I'm still expecting to get my pre-orders. They're already 100% paid for. I'm still hoping it actually happens. And if I do get those pre-orders, my immediate play, I mean, immediate, like as soon as I pick up those boxes, I'm coming home. I'm immediately opening those boxes up. I'm taking the 3 Charizard promos. So I, got 4 pre-orders. So that's a total of 12 Charizards. It's going to be 4 of each one of the artworks, and all 12 of those cards, unless the condition is absolutely janked, where like these things are cut in half more or less, they're all going the PSA. They're all going the PSA at the regular tier. I'm going to try to get those things back as fast as I possibly can. But I think that is the play in the tightest timeline of the window. I think there's going to be a lot of people already preparing to do that. I think the people who have who get those UPCs straight from distribution and they get them like a day or two before you, I think they're probably going to have a lot of the mindset to do that. Now, this is where I'm really liking that game stores are actually planning on selling these things for the most part. I think that there is a large majority of people that are actually sitting back on some of their allocations and they haven't really decided what they want to do with it. And I don't think like if personally I was running a LGS, this is just my personal opinion, like, I don't know how many of those I would be selling, honestly, because it's, really speculative of the market right now where those are going to fall. But now this is another thing. I just told you exactly what I'm going to do. But you have to also keep in mind something extremely, extremely important. They've already announced wave twos of these UPCs, meaning this is a very Trump type, like Trump-cated timeline. This is like a small window in time where I think these prices at release, especially graded, nines, tens, really, it boils down to tens. But people are going to probably be paying stupid premiums for these things right at release, like they do with every single promo, every single card. And, for the price of that UPC, plus the cost to grade these cards at probably, I would say $100 tier for the regular tier would be the best option. People are just going to like stonk out on these, looking at what pre-order prices for these single, like the single cards are selling for on TCG Player right now. Some of these cards, the pre-order prices are almost close to what the UPC price is. Like for me, that's what I'm doing. Is it a high risk play? Yes and no. Like I don't personally see it being a high risk play. Like the amount of, and I would look at how much money needs to get put in versus how much money could potentially come out, and the amount of money that's required to put into this versus the amount of potential gain that could come from this. It's not even comparable in a way. But let's see. So this is all I want to do. I know there are other lives going on tonight. I've been trying to do these little shorter type videos. And more importantly, I want to just, talk some Pokemon. So when people are out there work, these type of videos are very easy. You can listen to them in the background, whether you're at your job or if you're in Pokemon and you're packing orders and you got your headphones in. These type of discussions are important. They don't all have to be like over an hour or 2 hours long, but I also want to, read the chat real quick, see what everyone else is thinking, because I honestly, with the Charizard UPCs and those GameStop pre-orders, I've heard so much like information from different people, and I don't know what is true and what's not true. And not only that, I've heard people calling their GameStops and hearing completely different answers from different stores. So even the managers and the people giving the information out don't seem to know the full story, because if they did, you shouldn't be able to call two GameStops and get two different answers. If everyone knew, you should be able to call 1,000 GameStops and you would get 1,000 of the same answers, but it doesn't ever seem like that works. So I don't know. Let's see. So Catch 'em All Collectible said, yeah, what I already mentioned. Wave 2 Charizard UPC confirmed for December or January at both his distributors. Yeah, this is the thing. I'm the beginning of this video when I talked about it are the plays I'm making right now today. And I just talked to you. I graded a special delivery Charizard. That's very short window, truncated timeline. As soon as I get these Charizard UPCs at the middle of next month, these things are instantly being broken open. I'm grading all the promos, and then the boxes themselves are just an added on bonus. And, the, what is it, 15 packs in there and all that, the dice and the damage counters and the deck sleeves and the box itself. Like, sure, that's just a little add-on bonus, because I think I'm going to get more opportunities to pick up more pre-orders, and especially more pre-orders at MSRP. I just only options I've gotten so far at that 100, that, MSRP price. The only ones I've actually gotten are the ones through GameStop. I haven't had any options personally to pick those up at MSRP. I think there's some people getting pretty dang close. I don't know if you guys follow Danny Phantom. If you listen to one of his most recent lives, he was talking about releasing his UPCs for like $129. So that's just like $10. That's it. That's just semantics at that point, right? Plus, I think his website over $100 is like free shipping too. So 129 or whatever he's charging is just, that's a super low price. Now, this is the thing. Danny is a super good guy, and Danny could get way, way more for those UPCs if he wanted. And I think he definitely knows it. But like, that's super respectable thing he's doing. I think there's a lot of people who have that ability and they wouldn't even get close to that price point, because they're just going to go with whatever the market price is. So, big shout out, big props to him for doing that. But even that, the demand, even at 129, it's going to be crazy for those things. So let's see. So Josh is in the chat, or Josh Hollow in the chat said he got a crimped special delivery Charizard. He's so jacked. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So Catch 'em All Collectible said, question, did you dump the PSA 10 special delivery Charizard yet? No. I got the grade yesterday and I got the notification from PSA and my tracking number today. So I have not dumped it yet, but I'm going to do it as a buy it now. So I already know what day it's going to be delivered because I already looked at the track and what the estimated delivery is. The day before it arrives, I already have the photos from PSA. I've already like screenshotted them, have them all cropped. The listing will go up the day before. I will be the lowest price card on eBay for that. And hopefully it sells. And I'm hoping to get it anywheres around like greater than $400 for me on that card. It's still a super win. Super, super win. Like alley-oop, slam dunk win. And the fact that those cards are still selling for like greater than that right now is preposterous. And I don't know how low they're going to get. But even at the regular tier, like I see very little downside from now until the day I get those cards back. So just right now with the market now, ask me the same question in 5 months from now or 6 months from now or a year from now. Oh, that's a way different conversation. The conversation drastically changes. But one of the things that's going to keep those cards artificially up in price is just the fact that, like I said, they post dated that $18 bulk submission timeline. So nobody was able to submit those with their $18 bulk. So luckily, none of those submissions are coming back with them, but the market's going to start flooding with these special delivery Charizards at a astonishing rate. But there's a little bit of like okay in me, like where I could breathe a little bit of sigh of relief because it's still an in-demand promo. I'm still looking at what like special delivery Pikachus are selling for in a 10, or even like more common Japanese promos, like all the Scream promo stuff like that, like what they're selling for even after all this timeline. Some of those are still increasing in prices. So I'm literally talking like 4 days. But again, the fact that I'm talking like this in 4 days, comparing it to other cards, shows you how nervous I am about this market for the special delivery Charizard, how the bottom of a card like this can drop out just instantly on you. Like it could drop fast because really all it's going to take is one person to get back a submission of like 100 of them and then just sell them for $200, which this is the best part. Even at $200, I still make money on that card. Like it's a very low, like very low worry, but it's still possibly there. So the question is there somebody out there that sent 100 of them at $100, so spent $10,000 to grade them. They're going to list them for 200 and double their money for, again, a free promo. Like, is that possible? Yeah, definitely. Is there a chance that's going to happen pretty soon? Definitely. So, but right now the market is still eating them up. So John Doe said, I got a few special delivery Charizards. He'll grade best, keep others sealed. Yeah, right now for me, I just, like I said, I picked the one with the best centering, and that was just looking at the front of the packet. But now if I do good on this one, I might just send the other ones I have too and just YOLO it, even though the centering is a little off center, left to right. Maybe still get lucky. Like maybe it still falls within the 10 parameters, but like the one I sent was just perfectly centered. There was nothing else really about it. Like I said, even had a little corner wear on it that I was a little nervous. Let's see. Ancient Muse said he talked to his GameStop owner today about the UPCs, and he said the GameStop owner didn't even know. So yeah, I don't know where some of this information came from some people. I haven't been able to get any sort of verifiable answer saying that these orders are actually canceled. And the fact that my pre-orders haven't changed on my card, yeah, I'm not super worried about it. Let's see. Let's see. Ancient Muse said the GameStop owner also said if you paid in full, you have a better chance of getting yours. Yeah, so that's what I did. And that is also what I said to everybody when I made the community post when GameStop was actually doing those pre-orders, which those pre-orders for the most part, snuck up on everybody. No one knew that that was happening. It wasn't like there was any leaked information saying, hey, GameStop is going to drop these Charizard UPCs today. It was, nope. Obviously we live in this little world of Pokemon, so everybody found out about it instantly. And then I made that community post. But one of the things I wrote in that community post was, my recommendation to you is if you do not want your pre-order canceled, to pay in full at the time of pre-order, because GameStop, in my experience, will cancel pre-orders where people don't pay in full. And if you didn't pay in full and you only put $5 down and GameStop still hasn't canceled your pre-order and you have that money, I recommend you going to your local GameStop and paying the remaining balance on that. That would be my recommendation to you, because you don't want to find out otherwise in a week or two, like, oh, they canceled my $5 pre-order, and then you go ask the guy behind the counter, he said, yeah, we only gave the pre-orders to everybody that paid in full, and you'd be like, dang it. So that'd be my recommendation, but I could be wrong. They could still honor the $5 pre-order like deposit, so just be worried. So Mr. Waller said GameStop has a history of overselling pre-orders and just shipping on second or third waves. And that could be the case too. But at $119, like even second and third waves are still like not terrible. They're not great, but they're not terrible. I just don't see these Charizard UPCs sitting on the shelves really at any wave. I don't think the waves will ever really be big enough. Like, I hope they are close enough to it, but I don't really see it. Like, I'm having some trouble going into my local Walmart and Target to pick up like Lost Origins packs if I wanted them. Forget about like UPCs right now. It's not like we're talking these things are going to be dropped, years from now. We're talking the next 6 months, like unless the market really somehow dies in the next 6 months. And that would be hard pressed for me to think going into the holiday season and Christmas time, because we always see a little uptick during the holidays. You got Black Friday coming up, then holiday shopping for Christmas. I don't know. I don't see it really happening where these things sit on the shelves. Like, I could be wrong, because again, Pokemon all the time always has the ability to print to max capabilities for any product. And really, if Pokemon wanted, they could kill the price of any product they want. I just don't really see this being a viable option where that happens. So, Felipe said, went to his GameStop today and they told him that people that pre-orders, many might be cut down to one, including himself. He ordered two. See, that's the thing, Felipe. Like, that's now a third different answer I've heard. Like, I've heard so many different orders, but this is people from behind the counter telling you like your pre-order might be cut from whatever it was to one, but they said might. Like, there's been no definitive response from GameStop, to my understanding, that says this is what's going to happen. It's just a lot of people seem to be speculating. And like I talked about it during the live with myself, Ryan, and orders is nothing for GameStop. GameStop, I told you, has 3,200 physical locations. So really, for them to fill all the pre-orders, you're talking like on average, like 4 UPCs per store would need to be allotted. And then not even including what GameStop.com is getting. They could very easily start to take some of the GameStop.com allocations and just send those out to the stores. GameStop.com is probably getting close to 10,000 of these UPCs easily, because from what I've heard from people that I personally know with distributors, I know a lot of people now have said that their allocations have increased from what they got from Celebration UPCs and have drastically went up to what they're getting for the Charizard UPCs. And these are small accounts, small account, like some Whatnot breakers, some people that just sell on like TCG Player. And some people I've heard are getting like over 50 of these things. Just one little, I get a couple booster boxes, I lift them on TCG Player, and they sell at market price type accounts. I'm talking about GameStop.com. GameStop.com moves through way more Pokemon product than any of these people will ever do probably in their lifetime. And, so for 10,000 UPCs to have been pre-orders, I don't see this as being like this absolute major make or break when it comes to what their allocation numbers are going to be. Now, like you mentioned earlier in the chat, are they all going to be at wave one? That is going to be determined, really. And, we did see a similar situation happen with the Shining Fates ETBs, where GameStop canceled a bunch of Shining Fates ETBs pre-orders, and they did the same thing actually with Battle Styles. Anybody who pre-ordered 5 Battle Styles ETBs, they were cut down to 4, with the exception of if they prepaid up front. Everybody who prepaid up front got their 5 allocation of Battle Styles ETBs. And Battle Styles ETBs at the time, allocation numbers weren't like great for a lot of people, and there was a ton of demand for these things. So, and then the same thing with Shining Fates. Shining Fates, people went to multiple waves, but every single person that pre-ordered and then prepaid up front, their allocations were paid or given out first. So there's a little bit of like history just within like the last 2 years. You're talking 2021 for these Battle Styles and Shining Fates pre-order fiasco that went on at GameStop. Like nobody even talks about that stuff anymore. So let's see. Mr. Waller said at PokeKnowledge Cards, you grade when people got them from distribution a week before, and most people likely already sent. I think he's talking about the Charizard UPC promos. Yeah. There's going to be a window of time. That's it. That's all I know. There is going to be a window of time right after release where these cards and PSA 10 prices are going to go crazy. And it's just going to be on you if you want to capitalize right away, if you have the ability to do it. And if you don't do it, like it'll probably just be a missed opportunity, missed window. Now, it's going to take a lot to crush those prices and PSA 10 prices and get them to where you could kind of lose, in my opinion, looking at what TCG player pre-orders are selling for right now. Again, at release, these things are going to crash down, and they're going to crash pretty hard. But I'm comparing these just to a very similar product, which probably in relative to amount is very similar. I just look at like the Jolteon, Flareon, and Vaporeon premium collection boxes. What did those premium collection boxes do? Those cards graded in 10s, even though we've now seen multiple like dumps of these premium collection boxes. Like as recently as this month, there's been some sighting of those Evolution premium collection boxes in Walmart. And those things are still selling for premiums and PSA 10s. And that is a product that has now been out for a while. And when you're talking about sheer numbers of promos, there's probably, who knows? I don't even know what the pops of something like that is. But I think that would be like a good comparison to look at probably, how many of these Charizards will be graded and at what speed they'll be graded at. But again, it's all this short timeline. And that's the topic of today's videos. What am I doing right now? All this is going to change in the coming months. It's going to change. Like prices are going to change. Things in Pokemon are not always like long-term plays. There is definitely a lot of things I do in Pokemon that are long-term plays, 100%, like guarantee you that. But then there's some things I just do in these short, truncated timelines because, like I said, I need to sell stuff in this hobby to continue growing my collection at the speed and the rate and the quality and the condition of a lot of my, collection goals. It's just not really possible unless, you could start dumping special livery Charizards for greater than $400. Like when you could do that, it opens up a lot of stuff in this hobby. Like when you could start doing and that's the thing. There's just some of these easy plays in the hobby. Like don't pass up the easy plays and to just always focus on the hard plays. Like this hobby is fluid. I've talked about that on a ton of videos. This is a super fluid hobby. It's constantly changing. Oh man. Let's see. Felipe said, also a GameStop in his area, we paid a deposit of $5 per UPC to secure and had to pay the full 120. So I don't know what to make of that, but Yeah, so that's interesting. If they had you put a $5 deposit down, but then made you pay 120, I don't know if maybe they know something that other people don't know. I don't. This is it. Like I said, the communications between GameStop, it's all speculative at this point. Nobody knows if these pre-orders are actually being canceled or not. And so from what I've seen so far, it doesn't appear that they are going to be canceled. So Shadowless Pokemon Dime said Pokemon Company put 2 special delivery Charizards in one of his orders. So yeah, that's pretty sweet, man. Good for you. Felipe said he's going to GameStop tomorrow and pay for his pre-order in full. Yeah, like that's just my, that's what I recommend. I look at it this way. You got to pay for that thing in 2 weeks time anyway, or I guess a little longer than 2 weeks time. And so Ross says, hey, PK, didn't you catch the Boundaries Cross booster box opening that DC, or did you catch the Boundaries Cross booster box opening that TCA Gaming did? I caught a little bit of it. I don't think I actually watched like the full thing. Josh Hollow said, PK, brass tacks, you're a geologist. So what would your starting 6 be for rock type ground / gym leaders? Oh, that's a good question. That's one I'll definitely have to think about. Ancient Mew said, thanks for the heads up on paying in full. That's what he did too. Yeah, like that's just what I think you should do. I could be wrong, like, but again, I'm saying pre-order for these UPCs because even if your pre-order does go through, you got to pay for them anyway. So you just kind of delaying the inevitability in this point. But if you don't have the money, like that brings up a whole nother conversation and like a whole nother conversation. Maybe you shouldn't be buying a bunch of Charizard UPCs. Like maybe you shouldn't be investing in Pokemon. And so, but it's your money. Do what you want with it. Let's see. John Doe said they could have made the arts on the Arceus metal cards better. He wants Arceus V-Box promos and metal than the Arceus. Yeah, they chose. A lot of people said that, man. Like a lot of people didn't love the Arceus box, which is funny. Like a lot of people wanted these premium collection boxes, wanted more metal cards. They gave everybody an Arceus, and then everybody's like, yeah, this isn't the card we wanted. We want a card that's, I guess, does everyone just want Charizards? Because I could care less about Charizard. I understand what Charizards are. I understand what Charizards do. I understand how the market responds to Charizards. But me personally, I don't care about Charizards. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to capitalize on the market when it's apparent placed, which maybe that's a bad way to look at it. And I'm sure a lot of people are probably saying, like, can't always do this. Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. There's no easy right or wrong answers for this. Shadowless Pokemon Dime says, do you think they'll take away from people that got codes since they put multiple Zards in his order? They're probably no. So from my understanding is people even got multiple codes. Like I bought a couple codes on eBay when they were super cheap. I'm still putting them in my orders like every time I pick up something on Pokemon Center, and not a single one of my orders have been canceled. So I don't know. I don't think that's what's happening. I don't think it's become very apparent like Pokemon probably doesn't even have the system, like the back end system to figure out which codes went to which people and then like reverse engineer who shouldn't have gotten codes and stuff like that. Like, I think that's kind of wishful thinking if you think that's what's happening. And I haven't heard of one person having that happen to them. So, no, I just think Pokemon is probably going to move on from this. So Team Rocket Joey said, do you think Pokemon should make NFT redeemable cards like the Funko and Hot Wheels are doing? No, Pokemon should stay away from NFTs for as long as they possibly can. NFTs, they shouldn't be in the Pokemon space because really Pokemon is still a trading card game. NFTs is not going to be like playable. We're already looking at like what PTCGO and Pokemon Live and all the problems they have just when new sets get released, trying to, put the different cards in and the mechanics and making sure all the cards are being played right, to add in like one of one NFT, like specialized cards that Pokemon's not going to do that. They don't have a reason to do that. I think that's a big thing. Like the two things you talked about, Funko Pops and Hot Wheels, like maybe they have a reason to do that. And the reason to do that, it would just be a money grab where Pokemon doesn't need to do that. Mr. Waller says we need a Halloween UPC with a Mimikyu. Mimikyu dressed as other Pokemon promos would outsell Charizard UPCs. I like that. That's a hot take. Mimikyu is definitely one of my new favorite Pokemons for, a relatively new Pokemon. Again, he was only introduced in, the Sun and Moon timeline, but he's still a pretty new Pokemon, Gen 7. So yeah, that would be pretty awesome. I think a lot of people are starting to really like Mimikyu, even like the Lost Origins Mimikyu, like the non-holo rare in that set. I heard a lot of people talking about how awesome that artwork is. It's the Mimikyu, he's sitting in front of like a soda machine, and then on the ground on the sidewalk is a soda can, but it has a Pikachu like face on it, and you could just see like the anger inside of Mimikyu. Yeah, that's freaking awesome. All right, guys, but I did what I wanted to do, trying my best. I made it to the bottom of the chat, keeping these chats, relatively short, just to give you guys something to listen to when you're either driving to work or working or packing orders or doing whatever it is you do. And just kind of giving you a little snapshot of what I'm doing in the current market. And one of the things I talked about is I like to use this channel as a little tiny time capsule of like what's going on at different moments in the hobby. And this is going to be one of those things that change. And this conversation in this video is probably not going to, well, it'll probably age really well in the short term, but in the long term, we'll see where it winds up. Maybe people will go back and watch this a year from now and go, oh my God, I can't believe some of those plays. You can never do that. You can never sell a special livery Charizard, never regular tier graded at $100 and make any kind of money. Like maybe people will look back on this video with just like open mouth thumbnail type, oh my God, I can't believe that was ever an option. But yeah, that's where we stand. That's current market. Always have fun, guys. Appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll catch you guys all in the next video.